Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a pretty wild paradox. How exactly does a 100-year-old cultural icon, the Coca-Cola Company, radically fuse its massive historic identity with cutting-edge artificial intelligence, literally just to stay exactly the same? So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to look at this massive brand from 360 degrees. We'll start with the financial powerhouse, move into AI meets iconic design, look at the World Will Wait campaign, go beyond the bottle for global ops, and wrap up with future-proofing a legacy. Let's get into it. First up, Section 1, the financial powerhouse. We're talking record earnings and massive global growth. Because, right behind that classic red and white branding is an absolute financial juggernaut, having a record-breaking 2026. CEO Enrique Braun has made it clear they are laser-focused on gaining value share. And, well, it's working. If we look at their Q2 results, they didn't just meet Wall Street's expectations. They completely blew past them. Revenue hit $13.38 billion. That's up 7% and well over the expected $13.16 billion. Earnings per share reached 97 cents, up 11%, and net income climbed to a staggering $4.43 billion. With that kind of crazy momentum, the company actually went ahead and raised its full-year comparable EPS growth target to between 9 and 10%. Now, what's really interesting about this next point is that massive 16%. While their global unit case volume grew 5% overall, Coca-Cola Zero Sugar posted a remarkable 16% volume growth globally. And this wasn't just a fluke in one market, it surged across literally all geographic segments. Diet Coke and Coca-Cola Light also chipped in a 7% bump. Regionally speaking, the Asia-Pacific region was the fastest growing by volume, up 8%. It's a crystal clear indicator that consumers are aggressively shifting toward the zero sugar lineup. But a huge driver for this global momentum? The FIFA World Cup. Coca-Cola activated a massive campaign across over 180 markets. The trophy tour alone reached 700,000 fans, and their digital activations pulled in over 60 billion impressions. But here's the real price from all of that. Through connected packaging, Coca-Cola hauled in over 25 million first-party data records from 80 million consumers. That is an absolute goldmine of data for tailoring future marketing campaigns. So yeah, next time you scan a bottle with your phone, just remember, you're fueling their global analytics engine. Moving on to Section 2, AI meets iconic design and how they're revolutionizing brand consistency. Back in July 2026, Coca-Cola launched its most significant visual identity overhaul in years, spanning over 200 markets. The goal was to amplify those classic assets, the bold red and white palette, the dynamic ribbon, the ardent square, and that famous Spencerian script. But this raises a massive logistical question for us to think about. How on earth do you scale a legacy brand across hundreds of markets without losing its soul? Think about pushing a rebranding effort of this magnitude across different countries, cultures, and packaging sizes, all without accidentally distorting the timeless aesthetic we all instantly recognize. Well, the answer is Project Vision. This is a core innovation developed right alongside Adobe. Project Vision takes Coca-Cola's historic static brand guidelines and magically converts them into machine-readable design rules called a Style ID. This AI system is baked directly into Adobe Creative Cloud apps like Photoshop and Illustrator. So, as designers work, the AI captures their choices in real time and automatically applies strict brand rules. This accelerates localized content production while making absolutely sure it totally complies with the brand's historic identity. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole strategy. Listen to this quote from Rafa Abreu: "Designers lead and AI follows. Creativity can move faster without losing its soul." It's such a beautiful irony, right? They are using cutting-edge artificial intelligence not to change or modernize the brand's soul, but to act as a strict, unyielding guardrail. The AI is literally there to protect the historic look from human error as it scales around the globe. This massive AI-powered visual identity rollout is already in motion. Across 2026, it's hitting Latin America, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, with North America slated for 2027. Austria actually kicked the whole thing off in August 2026. They started introducing the new packaging design, which notably features Coke Zero's sleek new black ribbon and black cap, and they paired it with a major campaign giving away 2,000 prizes, including custom Fiat 500s. Which brings us to Section 3, the world will wait, reconnecting the digital generation. Now, this next strategy presents a fascinating contrast. While they're building this highly technical AI infrastructure behind the scenes, their outward-facing marketing is deeply human and sociological. As Arnab Roy observes here, there's a growing tension among consumers who truly desire genuine connection, but often feel completely overwhelmed by the urgent pressures of daily life. Coca-Cola took that powerful insight about modern digital overwhelm and aimed a brand new global campaign squarely at Gen Z and millennial audiences. Let's move to the strategy and see how this builds out in practice. The campaign revolves around the hashtag AFK Meals. It brilliantly reframes the old gaming term away from keyboard into a badge of honor for prioritizing shared meals over digital pings. Developed by WP OpenX and led by Gray, it features short films like Laptop Face that practically beg people to choose the dinner table over screen time. Interestingly enough, this integrated campaign is rolling out globally, but it notably excludes the United States. They're keeping a super tight focus on positioning Coke as the ultimate global food pairing. And the out-of-home advertising for this is incredibly sharp. You have slogans like, "Laundry can wait," "Fried chicken and Coca-Cola can't." Let's be honest, they aren't wrong. By using these highly relatable, humorous scenarios, they're cutting right through the noise. It shores up the brand not just as a drink you grab, but as the mandatory emotional companion to the food we share when we finally log off. All right, Section 4, Beyond the Bottle, a look at global operations and supply chain. So the crucial point here is that beyond design and marketing, Coca-Cola is an operational beast. Look at the sheer scope of these global moves. They're pivoting rapidly on multiple continents. In Japan, they're testing label-less bottled water in vending machines to reduce plastic waste. Over in Africa, they made a massive $2.6 billion acquisition through Swiss-based bottler Coca-Cola HBC for a 75% stake in Coca-Cola Beverages Africa. Meanwhile, in the US, they had to manage a serious crisis when their Fairlife Dairy subsidiary was forced to halt production due to a ransomware attack. And in Europe, they just appointed Lucas Santandrea to aggressively lead operations in Poland and the Baltics. Yet, even while they're managing billion-dollar acquisitions and fending off cyber attacks, their ground-level community investment remains totally steady. A prime example is their heavy participation in the 2026 Special Olympics USA Games in Minnesota. We're talking about a massive logistical event uniting over 3,000 athletes, 75,000 fans, and 10,000 volunteers. It just goes to show that their operational muscle is still heavily dedicated to local sustainability and ground-level community engagement. Finally, Section 5, Future-Proofing a Legacy, the paradox of modernizing a 100-year-old brand. When we pull all these disparate threads together, the financials, the marketing, the operations, it reveals a fascinating duality. On one side, you have these highly analog human connections, telling people to put down their laptops for shared fried chicken meals, or dropping physical, label-less bottles into Tokyo vending machines. But on the other side, driving all of this is a deeply digital reality. Project Vizion's AI strictly guarding the visual guidelines, 60 billion digital World Cup impressions, and 25 million records harvested through connected packaging. Which leaves us with this final, profound question. Is the ultimate secret to preserving a century-old icon changing absolutely everything behind the scenes just so the consumer sees exactly the same thing? It is truly remarkable to realize that ensuring a simple flash of red and a white curve remains timelessly consistent for generations to come now requires an immense AI-powered infrastructure. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, keep looking closely at the icons around you. They are always in motion.